All within the space of about 3 hours last night, it was announced that Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo had ended their professional relationship by mutual consent. And then, 3 hours later, it was announced that Manchester United would be investigating, quote, strategic alternatives to enhance the club's growth. If you need a translator for corporate jargon, which I often do, and I've spent quite a lot of time in corporate environments in my life, what this essentially means is that they're looking for investors, and this search could eventually lead to the sale of the club. And I'm not sure if any of you guys have been paying attention or anything, but this is essentially what a very, very large amount of people have been asking for give or take, 17 years. This is wild. All of it. All of this is wild. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe. Welcome back to Football Iconic. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't. The support's been crazy recently, so thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I released a video yesterday about the French national team and their injury crisis. Then, while watching them batter Australia and also realizing I was chatting shit, this news came out. So let's start with Ronaldo so we can all get caught up on the timeline.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
In the critically acclaimed 2008 documentary, The Dark Knight, Harvey Dent said that. I've spoken at length on this channel about Ronaldo's journey with Manchester United, as well as his incredible career in the years following his initial departure and subsequent return. So I'm not going to go into detail about all of that in this video, and even though I know it's kind of old news at this point, I think a good place for us to start is the 16th of November 2022, the dreaded, infamous Piers Morgan interview. During the pre-season of the 22-23 season, after United had a dreadful campaign, Cristiano Ronaldo was heavily rumored to be on the hunt for a new club. We had journalists spouting all kinds of leaks from Manchester United, George Mendes, Cristiano Ronaldo's agent, even Cristiano Ronaldo himself. It was kind of crazy. You didn't really know who to believe, what was going on. But amongst all the craziness, Ronaldo made a passing comment that at a certain date, the truth would be revealed. That date happened to be just after the transfer window closed, so I think a lot of people made their initial assumptions about what was actually going on. But then, Ronaldo stayed put and didn't even leave, so I think we were all left collectively scratching our heads at that point. 3 months, several feuds, 2 walkouts, and a lot of back and forth later, we found ourselves at the interview that shocked the footballing world. And I'll speak for myself here. I think a lot of the reason that this interview shocked the world wasn't so much what Ronaldo said. We'll get into that in a bit, but I think it's pretty much common knowledge at this point that a lot of what Ronaldo said is well known and well documented. A lot of people agree upon it. No, but what actually was so shocking was that this interview happened in the first place. The full conversation was about 2 hours long, so I'm not going to go into every tiny detail, but there are a few points made in the interview that I want to highlight. Ronaldo wanted to clear the air on what he had been experiencing in Manchester United since his return in 2021. He spoke about the state of the club's facilities and its direction. I don't know what's going on, but since Sir Alex Ferguson left, I saw no evolution in the club. The progress was zero. We've all known this for years. He's right. He also spoke about the reluctance of his younger teammates and staff to not listen to his advice and suggestions as a seasoned authority. It doesn't surprise me, but in the same way, it's a shame because if they have the best examples in front of their eyes and they don't at least copy what you did, for me, it's kind of weird. Listen, he's a top 2 footballer of all time in my eyes, so without knowing the full context when it comes to the younger teammates, I see nothing wrong with this quote. He also spoke on the hardest time of his life, where he tragically lost a son at childbirth earlier in the year. This has clearly had a monumental effect on him. It doesn't matter what level of status or wealth you're at, it's tragic. In the interview, he also badmouthed the manager, saying he did not respect him, saying he'd never even heard of Ralf Rangnick, saying that he felt he shouldn't have been punished for not doing his job against Spurs, saying he felt betrayed and was being forced out, and then he said that Wayne Rooney was not as good looking as him. And you know what? Without being a fly on the wall at Carrington or Old Trafford or being in the Ronaldo household, it's hard to comment on any of these quotes with an actual opinion. Except for the Rooney quote. That's just petty. And again, like I've already said, a lot of what Ronaldo said in this interview is common knowledge. If you've been half paying attention over the past 10 years, you'll know that United have had and continue to have major problems. As a matter of fact, most United fans have said exactly what Ronaldo said in this interview in the past. I've made videos where I've said the same things word for word. But I'm a dude in his bedroom that may or may not be wearing pants right now. Cristiano Ronaldo is, or rather was, an employee of Manchester United and a respected senior member member of the squad. Agree with him or not, going on this interview the way he did and saying the things he said is incredibly unprofessional. All the same, I'll be the first to admit, this man does not work a regular job, nor is he the same as the rest of us. With 500 million Instagram followers and likely millions more fans outside of that, this is one of the most famous and recognizable guys on the planet. He's way up there. He knew this interview would ruffle some feathers, and he even outright said it towards the end of the interview. Manchester United were not happy. Immediately, we had reports coming out that Erik ten Hag never wanted to see Ronaldo again. Squad members were reportedly upset and very open to the idea of him leaving the club. Casemiro and Rafael Varane were as shocked as the rest of us and didn't understand why Ronnie never gave them any warning. Leaving all the jokes aside, a small detail that not a lot of people have been talking about, but also a very large detail that everyone's been talking about, is that Manchester United are a better club on the pitch when Ronaldo is not playing. Not that he's not still a good player, he just doesn't fit what Ten Hag is trying to achieve with this team. And I guess it's kind of poetic that the day before the trailers for this inflammatory interview dropped, the team was saved by the new boy of the hour, Alejandro Garnacho, possibly the biggest day of the guy's life. But nobody was talking about that the next day. In the end, Ronaldo got what he wanted, as clean a break from the club as possible. Now, it was pretty obvious that this interview was strategically timed to be released right before the start of the World Cup, but I think a lot of people were assuming that all of this would be hashed out at the end of the World Cup, not before Portugal even kicks a ball. Anyway, that's where we stand. Cristiano Ronaldo is currently a free agent and will probably remain as one until the end of the World Cup. If Portugal win this tournament, I don't think the internet will be able to recover. In a couple years, we'll all forget about this and Ronaldo posters will be plastered back up at Old Trafford, but for the time being, this is probably the most divisive man in sports right now. As for United, they will 100% need striking reinforcements in January, but I'm pretty sure we'll only start hearing things about that in late December, so we gotta wait and see. And speaking of the club, green and gold until the club is sold. A line used for years by many in protest of the Glazers and United's higher-ups. Green and gold were the original colours of Manchester United when it was founded, and before it even went by the name Manchester United. It was Newton Heath back then. Those who repeat the words advocate for the club to be restored to its original values, being a club for the people. They also advocate for the higher-ups of the club to prioritize making the club better rather than lining their own pockets. With the announcement that the club could be for sale, we've seen tons of people flock to social media to share their joy on this momentous occasion. It's like if social media was around before the tornado dropped the house on the Wicked Witch, with the tornado being 10 years worth of poor performances. This was only announced last night, so I gotta admit, I'm not entirely sure how much United would be worth. We've seen the $4.6 billion figure floated around due to Forbes' brand evaluation, but we obviously can't confirm that. And the actual wording of the statement is purposely ambiguous. Do the Glazers actually want to wash their hands of United, or do they just want additional investment so that they don't have to put in their own capital into making the changes that are required? As part of this process, the board will consider all strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions involving the company. There can be no assurances that the review being undertaken will result in any transaction involving the company. That last statement leaves it all up in the air, so nothing is guaranteed. Nothing could eventually come from this. But even if something does come from this, who's to say it'll be anything better? Who's to say that United won't be bought up by a similar or worse party? Who's to say that United won't be bought up by an oil state? Who's to say that things will realistically change? I guess the same people that would say that things won't realistically change. Nobody. Nobody knows. It's gonna be a wild ride, that's for sure. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about this crazy situation. I don't usually do videos like this, but I felt particularly motivated due to recent events. Feel free to give me any and all feedback, good or bad, I read it all. Feel free to follow the socials. That's all from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.